Hello, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom Chiefs cast live from the Wolf Den. I'm Chris.
And I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking week 4, and a big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about the group and to find your local chapter. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Today we'll be talking about your Kansas City Chiefs with Billy Truelove. He is on the 1558 podcast. Welcome, Billy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And of course, we are presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Please visit them at completewedo.com. And like Chris said, big welcome to Billy, who has one of the best named podcasts that I've ever heard, 1558. That is fantastic.
Those are the guys right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, friend of the show, friend of Arrowhead Kingdom. Billy and I do a weekly betting column where I'm getting demolished and reminding myself why I don't gamble. Never really had good luck with it, so I kind of stay away from it. But let's talk about the week 4 game against the Eagles. So, Billy, as our guest, what were your thoughts going into halftime at the end of the game and just overall observations from this game against the Eagles?
You know, it was another game where I was somewhat frustrated that I was looking forward to just making sure we had the last possession in the first half, because I feel like that is something that we almost may be reliant on with this defense, that we can have back-to-back possessions. If we're not going to push this turnover battle with teams, that's maybe one of the only ways that we can manufacture back-to-back possessions. And I don't want to be negative on this. A win is a win. It's a win this team needed. It was a very beatable team, and we did just that. Obviously, the score should have been further apart. Another missed challenge on our part, similar to last year, Tyreek's end zone touchdown against Denver Sunday night. They hustled up there, whatever. It's this defense is this defense. I'm not sure what we do at this point other than get healthy and try to just butt things down. It's 2018 all over again, and I just my fear is that this isn't the 2018 offense. Hopefully Josh Gordon can bring a new wrinkle. We're feeling Sammy not be here right now. Just his, we could rely on him to just be in the right place at the right time. And our wide receiver 2 and down is far from that, in my opinion. Maybe I'm a little harder on McCole Hardman than a lot of people, but obviously the offense is statistically doing what we want it to do. I just haven't felt as confident in it. It seems a little panicky to me at times. It isn't the smooth machine that we're used to seeing.
So the only comment that I would make to that is in 2018, the big thing I remember is we had a really good running game until Kareem Hunt decided to show that he's a complete blockhead. And I also remember the 2018 season where we didn't have Kareem Hunt towards the end, and we were literally a couple of plays away from going to the Super Bowl. So I 100% feel everything you're saying about the defense, but if this is the defense that we have, as you mentioned, maybe we should just be leaning into scoring as many points as possible and taking risks defensively from a turnover standpoint. Chris, what are your thoughts on that? Or am I being just out of line and crazy here?
Actually, I take a different thought on Kareem Hunt. I mean, yeah, he was the running game was really good, but actually the passing game to the running backs was a lot more lethal with him. And then with Damian Williams later that year. And, last year and this year, we really haven't had a lot of passes out to the backs. And that's been one thing that, Kareem Hunt got a lot of big plays, I think, in the passing game that got overshadowed by just how good of a runner he is. And then Damian Williams, man, I mean, he could pop a big play every now and then. I still love watching Damian Williams in the Super Bowl. I mean, he was just so good in that game.
Man.
But yeah, that's the thing about the 2018 offense, other than the wide receiver 2 position that I see being a big difference.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Chris, too. And I do think that we have been I don't want to say lied to or BS'd, but we certainly thought that what Kareem brought to us in the pass game and the receiving game, that Clyde was going to fill that hole.
Brian, I'm going to ask you this. Did we draft the wrong guy?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like, look, I mean, talking about going back to our draft. Remember our draft boy band episode?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about drafting,
how could I forget?
Our draft talk. I mean, just so you know, Billy, we had a whole episode where we decided which member of the draft class was part of the boy band New Kids on the Block. Yes. And I just want to say, like, my star on that was Creed Humphrey, and that dude is doing what he does. I mean, I saw a stat that's saying he had like no rushes on with what his assignments were, like leaving Mahomes protected for what he needs to do. But you know, there's a lot of things we can point to. I mean, I was excited to see Tyreek Hill do what he did that game. I mean, look at the 3 scores. Wasn't it 3 scores for Tyreek? I mean, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Like all getting the backs in play like that, perhaps that opened up. Is that a thing that, because he's been, I mean, for what we're used to Hill, he's been kind of like not doing what Hill does, and maybe getting more offensive plays going that way opens up those kind of, our stars do what stars do, you know, because like, oh, we got a lot of weapons here. And against it's the Eagles, like Billy said, we're supposed to win this game, and we put up the numbers we got to put up. And I think I saw a stat somewhere that said that a lot of their defense or a lot of their players were secondaries, so we should have really did what we were supposed to do and walk away with this thing. And it felt like we did, but there was moments there where it didn't really feel like it was the score was farther, but it felt closer most of the majority of the game. So I mean, I liked seeing Hill get back into play, though Kelsey was, not doing. I mean, maybe they're putting all their power and putting him out of play. But you know, I like seeing our stars do what they were, you know, what they're destined to do, and what we're used to them doing. And you also got to hand it to Jalen Hurts, because that guy, he really had a good game as well. Like, that guy just seemed like he was a man on a mission.
He was dropping dimes in that game.
For a second, let's just pull up the box score and talk a little bit about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Anybody know what the Eagles' run defense is ranked?
They're pretty good. Are they top 5 coming into this game? I know their defensive front is one of the best.
I could have looked this up before I brought it up, but what I did look up is Kareem Hunt. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 102 yards rushing on 14 carries, which is 7.3 yards per carry. And Tyreek Hill broke out. And so my kind of take on the offense was Travis Kelce decided to take one for the team, or the Eagles decided to make Travis Kelce be the one to take one for the team, because he absorbed all the double teams and everything from the defensive backfield by the Eagles, where Tyreek Hill has been getting held back in the past few weeks because he's the one getting doubled, and Kelsey's kind of broke out. So obviously that's the need for the number 2 wide receiver. But I think the most underrated thing about a running game is how much the offensive line does, which, you know, Brian talking about Creed Humphrey, this isn't going to fix the Clyde taking passes out of the backfield, but I mean, 100 yards rushing was good to see. 7.3 yards per carry is insane. I mean, that's Cleveland Brown type of numbers. So was that a recipe of playing a bad run defense? Was that a recipe of playing a defense that made a decision that Travis Kelce wasn't going to beat him in Philadelphia? Or is that a recipe of our offensive line actually played well, and Clyde's finally got some senses beat into his head that if you don't fumble the ball and you kind of run with what the line gives you and take the holes that you're given by our offense, that you can put up some yards. Billy, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think you were wrong on any of that. I as far as, you know, our line is, they certainly prefer to run block right now, but I also, it's also what these defenses are going to give us right now. That is just, everyone is doing it. And I didn't think that so many teams would just stick to it and just say, we're going to rush 4 and we're not going to send anyone else to stop the run until we absolutely know that he is coming through the middle. So it is, I think it's a little bit of both. Our offensive line is getting better. Clyde is getting more comfortable. and defenses are daring us to run the ball as much as we can. And, you know, until once they decide that they're not going to let that happen, which Philly thought they would do in the one time that they decided we're not going to let you run this ball, like a viper, Pat just struck Tyreek Hill, and it made me so happy to know that it does not matter the scenario, what's going on. If you show us for a blink that kill shot is out there, we are going to take it and we won't miss. And I thought that was awesome. But yes, I think these defenses are going to they're going to let us run the ball.
So I'm going to go back to your previous comment. You made a comment about the 2018 versus current year offense and how they look a little less sure, but we're taking kill shots like that, like a viper. So do you think that we're less sure, or just being more patient, and Patrick's recognizing that he doesn't have a number 2 receiver? He's been a little more reckless, obviously, having 4 interceptions in the month of September, which is, you know, 1 a game and really not that bad when you think about it that way, except that it's the first 4 in his career. So we're all a little shook by it. So let's talk a little bit more about the offense. Do you think that we're being cautious? Do you think we're taking what the defense is giving us, or is there just a little bit of, I guess, shock that the defense is giving us a run game this way, and for 3 weeks we really didn't take advantage of it?
I mean, back in 2018, teams just weren't dropping 7 on us every single snap. And we could get anybody deep. We could get Sammy deep. We could get Tyreek deep. It was more about what we wanted to do. And Andy figuring out just what Patrick was capable of all that season. And that still went on into 2019. We were able to take those shots, and they have just, I mean, if we're going to beat teams, we're going to have to run the ball until further notice. And that's going to be when teams decide, okay, we're sending 5, we're sending a blitz. Teams aren't blitzing us because why would you? That Patrick is going to kill you if you do that. And now we're going to run the ball, and it's not going to be as sexy. But at the same time, I don't want to dump on that as well. We, in 2018 and 2019, we were kind of asking, God, it'd be nice if we could score slower, if we could really control this game. And this is how you do it. And it's not quite as sexy, but Pat still leads the league in touchdowns. He's 5th in yards. So it's not that we're not.
He's 3rd in passer rating.
And he's 3rd in passer rating. Yeah. So it's, you know, Pat is still doing his things, but these defenses are controlling much, much more what we are going to do.
Yep, this is not really the most fun year to have a horrible defense. That's for sure. Okay, so let's look a little forward to week 5, because I know that you've got a bounce and do some dad duty type of stuff. So week 5 coming up against the Bills. So I'm just going to ask this question straight up. Is this going to be the game of the season, a la Rams Chiefs on Monday Night Football a couple years ago?
It is. It is. I mean, it definitely has all the makings for that. And there's nothing about that team that I'm terribly terrified of, other than Josh Allen. Just looking at our defense. This is the game that I've wanted in the offseason. This was the game I was most excited for, because I think it's where we really show our stance in the AFC. I'm not as confident. I'm just as excited, because I think this is where we erase the Baltimore game and we erase the LA game. You go beat Buffalo right now, everything is back to normal. And this defense, no one's going to be as concerned. I'd say for Chiefs fans, what to watch for. I was talking to Overreaction podcast run by Joe Miller out in Buffalo, and he was saying, where they think their strength is on that line is Star Latualele. I can't say his last name. I just took a swing there. It's something
close
like
enough.
that. And I told him
it's a Latchaway.
I said,
I'm not making this any better.
Dirte.
I told him, I said, well, Bills fans should probably be salivating if you think that teams are having to double and triple team Star. He's got a rookie in front of him in this game. And I know Creed has overperformed at this point. This may be his biggest challenge. I know we had the Myles Garrett's of the world and things like that in week 1, and Baltimore's defense, we did whatever the hell we wanted to Baltimore's defense, and we had Bosa outside against LA, but Starr in the middle. This is going to be a big challenge. We're going to have to, Trey Smith is going to have to help out. Joe Tooney's going to have to help out in there, and we'll see. It's going to be another team that can send for. As much as I'd like to say, I hope this is a shootout because it gives us the best chance for us to win. I just hope this doesn't look like the Super Bowl. That is what I'm most nervous about.
Okay, so let's have a little fun and assume the shootout, because I know I'm assuming the shootout. Brian, Chris, are you guys assuming anything different than a shootout in this one?
Well, I mean, am I allowed to point out that the Bills laid a goose egg on the Texans a few weeks ago? Or I mean, I know this because they put up 40 against the Texans, and the Texans did not score a single. I mean, their defense. I mean, when you say shootout, I'm like, I remember watching that Monday Night Football game, and I was like, yeah, this is just a bizarre kind of a game I've ever seen. The amount of defense that the Bills are playing right now, I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean,
Brian, who's the Texans quarterback?
Who's the Texans quarterback?
Point
Davis
taken.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
Still a professional. Come on, still a professional. Still a professional player laying a goose egg with 40. Come on.
He's trying to be, but yeah.
And they did the same thing to Miami in week 2. They goose egged Miami 35-0. And
that
okay,
was.
Come on.
I'm
looking at the numbers right now. Hold on, I'm pushing back here, Josh. I'm pushing back. Buffalo yards against the rush game. They're ranked. Buffalo Bills defense ranked 4th against the pass game. They're number 1. So I see a shootout. I'm like, seems like their defense is crushing it right now in the year. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a shootout, but I'm saying these defense numbers are not pointing to that. So we'll see what happens, but I hope so. It'd be more fun watching that.
My only comment there is that the Bills, their defenses look better than advertised. I think that the Bills defense is as good as a lot of us wanted to think the Chiefs defense was going to be. Let's be honest there. But they've played the Texans and the Dolphins, and that's the same as the Raiders.
Two powerhouses.
It's the same as the Raiders and the Broncos being 3-0 going into this last week.
All right.
I mean,
so I guess 0-9 teams. All right.
We're 25% through the season. In a normal year, would be 25% of the way through the season. So we can start drawing conclusions. The Bills have a decent defense. I think that's 100% true. But Sunday Night Football, I would hope that we're able to get up for this game. So my question is, over under on total touchdown passes this Sunday night. 9.5. Where are we going?
I'm gonna go
Billy, where are you going? Chris is going under.
Yeah.
Chris believes in the defenses. I don't know which one he believes in. I'm assuming it's the Bills, but
no.
I think I have to go under since I've been spouting off all this shit just now. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go under.
There you go.
But it should be fun though. I mean, yeah, I think Billy's right though. Like we get this game, then it's a reset back to where
I agree.
I like that. I like that mindset, Billy. I really like that. Yeah. Let's I mean, Ravens. We all know we should have had Ravens. It was right there. Shit happens. And everything. We're right there to be winners. But shit happens. So yeah, let's do this. Let's knock this one away. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be tough. It'll be fun. But let's just get knocked out and start the middle part of the game 4+ and everything like that.
I'm expecting over 80 total points, and I think that we're going to be flirting with 10 total touchdown passes. I really do.
That would be game of the year.
That's where I'm at. I think this is going to be a ridiculous shootout. I think that the Chiefs defense is going to force maybe a turnover. The Bills might do the same thing, and I just think this is going to be run gangbusters, just air it out, air raid. That's what I'm expecting.
You know what? We forgot to compliment the Chiefs too on this. I don't think we've said this yet, but we do have to point out against the Eagles 3 red zone stops. By the way, maybe we'll see like that kind of thing. And
you know what? Yes, we do need to point that out. We do need to point that out. And when we're ragging on our defense and we're ragging on the Eagles settling for field goals, these are all true statements. But prior to that game, we weren't having anybody settle for field goals. And like Billy said, our defense is our defense, so we just need to lean into what we have. Just lean into it.
And as I think every single one of us was watching that, when Philly got in the red zone and decided to kick a field goal anytime, you're saying, what are you doing? Have you not been watching?
What are you doing?
You can get a first down here.
Yeah.
You can move the chains, and they decided not to.
Yeah.
It's, he's a young head coach. And you gotta, if you want to give Jalen Hurts a shot in the arm, it's go move the chains on fourth down against the Chiefs and let's make this a game. He took that shot away from him. I thought that was more on the Eagles' part, not so much us coming up with a stop, but us getting to take a big sigh of relief. Oh my God, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, yep, we weren't dealing with Alexander Hamilton, who was not throwing away a shot. They threw away their shot.
Yeah, I mean, I constantly.
Reference?
Yeah, that was a Hamilton reference. Yes,
yeah,
correct.
The musical Hamilton.
The musical Hamilton. Have you not seen that?
Tanya has watched it. My wife Tanya has watched it. I know Josh. Everyone loves it. She watched. She's like, meh. I'm like, well, I'm still gonna watch it, but she was not impressed. So
she was not impressed. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it live twice. I've watched it on Disney Plus probably 24 times. I'm gonna go again when it's here in Milwaukee in a couple weeks. I think it's great. I've probably listened to the soundtrack 100 times, and I'm not even kidding. There, I think it's some of the most just infectiously catchy music that you can possibly have.
All right. I need to watch it and draw my own conclusion. But yeah, okay. I'm sorry, Chris. Go
ahead. Yeah. The soundtrack's full of bangers. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to wrap up that, Nick Sirianni not going for it on fourth down, because I think there's something to being afraid of the post-game press conference, because, I mean, and, Josh knows I got a column now it's working on in terms of, basically head coaches getting blasted after games for going for it and not making it. But there's so much data and information out there that it's nonsensical not to go for it on fourth down in those situations. But there's still that fear out there, especially, you're a rookie head coach. You don't want, plus you're in Philadelphia. I mean, the Philadelphia media is not exactly,
you want to get booed like Santa Claus and batteries thrown at you. I mean, come on, these are the
things not Kansas City.
The things that you're into.
I wonder if some of that had to play into Nick Sirianni, not growing a pair in those places. But I mean, against the Chiefs, you got to be that aggressive. And, John Harbaugh gets it. Brandon Staley gets it. Kevin Stefanski gets it. And I got a feeling that even though he didn't get an AFC championship
that are going
game,
to the playoffs and the Eagles aren't. So,
and even though he didn't get it last year in the AFC championship game, I got a feeling Sean McDermott's going to get it this weekend.
I just, before I get out of here, I will leave with this. If there's any positive spin I want to put on this defense is we know that the guys on this roster are not as bad as we're seeing. Something's not right. It appears we're getting healthy. We had Frank Clark back at practice. We had Travarius Ward back at practice. We had Fenton. I'm not going to say Willie Gay is going to play yet. Chiefs historically, I think when they bring someone off IR, I don't say that they immediately get on the field week one. It'd be nice, but we'll see. At some point, though, like when Pat's knee came off, the defense just said enough is enough. And sell out. You send the sink at Josh Allen if you have to and say, what's the worst that can happen? If you score, Pat gets the ball. Yep. If we're just going to let you methodically beat us down for 7 and 8 minutes at a time, what's worse, really? I would say just send the moon at him. He is very, very, very good against the blitz. But who cares if the outcome is just getting the ball back when we ultimately think we're going to give up these points anyways, especially if we're not even stopping you on fourth down? What's more embarrassing? Giving up a long ball to one of the best receiver quarterback tandems in the league, or just them converting on fourth down, maybe multiple times in one possession? Let these guys just get loose, go after Josh Allen, and tell the offense, hey, we are going to play a type of defense that's going to put this game on you. You either get with it or just know that maybe the Bills are better than you this year. That offense brought in Emmanuel Sanders. They got Knox at tight end playing well right now. Stephon Diggs, and Cole Beasley is their wide receiver 3. I wish we had a wide receiver room like that right now. And maybe we're getting there with Josh Gordon, but we're gonna have our hands full. Why be conservative? Just let Spags send everything. Get this team playing with some attitude. The offense will respond. Yeah, and that's what we see.
I
think
agree
our
with you.
best shot, our best shot is a shootout.
This is leaning into it. I completely agree with you. And on the defense, just go for it. And if your worst case scenario is you're off the field in a minute 30 because Allen aired one out to Diggs, I mean, there you go. Yep. Spags is either going for it or flying the plane into the mountain. It's going to be different every single.
Oh, I hear a different metaphor. I hear I hear Andy Dufresne saying, "Get busy living or get busy dying."
Well, that's Red, but yes, you get. Yeah. Well, it's both of them. It's both of them. But yeah, great movie.
Yes,
love that movie.
Exactly, and we need to get busy living. That's it. You know, who cares if Stephon Diggs catches, Tyreek Hill type of numbers if you win the game? It doesn't matter.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for having me on. I definitely want to be here again. I'll definitely be on here again if you have.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
And we'll be on to do our picks here as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
See you, Billy.
Here we are. Right. Well,
here we are now. Look at us.
Great guests. Love 1558 and the work they do. Glad to have those guys as part of the Arrowhead Kingdom. So anything else we need to talk about from this last week or the week coming up? Or I think we've kind of covered stuff in triplicate. Yeah. We've been around the room and back.
Well, let me see. I took notes before we came on here. Mentioned red zone, and we like seeing that, some signs of life from defense.
Yeah, good call on that, by the way.
I will say, like, how much fun was that seeing like their kind of weird fourth down conversion, which turned into a kick, which then turned into like a stupid penalty, which then turned into a 4th and 11, and then I was turnover. Actually, then another penalty hit, and then it was just like a weird emotional journey we all went on. And there was some moment when I rewatched the film. There's some moments where Hurts could have been closer if he had did not overthrow the receiver one time in the kind of first quarter. Or I don't know if it was the first half, or I think it was the first quarter. So we, mistakes happen, obviously, and not everyone's perfect, but those kinds of things. If you play against someone who is on, then that puts us in a really precarious position. But yeah, I'm glad to see that. I was just glad seeing defense because they're feeling good this week, showing those signs of life against the chips are down, and they made the stops when they had to make the stops. And even it's fun seeing the Eagles fans boo their own team for the third time when they couldn't ran the touchdown home. It was like, oh yeah, Eagles fans are rough. They're booing their own goddamn team.
Yep, they're a bunch of fun-loving yahoos, that's for sure.
I want to hang out there. That sounds like fun.
So I've been to games there, and I don't know if you guys read my newest column on Arrowhead 1, but I talk about traveling and places that I like, and Philly is one of those cities that I've had a ton of fun in. I mean, Brian knows that a really good friend of ours from high school went to college out there. So got to spend some time there. But the Philly cheesesteak is one of the best just culinary trash food delights you can possibly have. I mean, if you get the opportunity to sow down on a Philly cheesesteak, you do it. And so, I've spent a lot of time in Philly, and I've been to games at the Lincoln Financial Field, and it's funny because I mean they're just so into the game. Every play is church, and they second guess their team like every single play.
Oh yeah,
it's entertaining.
Well, Pennsylvania. You know what? I mean they can have a tough time now if they want, but Pennsylvania has had a fun time with their sports over the past number of years. I'm including college with this, by the way. So no love lost there, but. I also want to say that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, nice game, nice bounce back. He's had a rough couple of weeks there, and it's nice to see him doing what he does. And I don't know if this was it should be a confidence building game. Not to say that his confidence was shattered because he's a high performance person. Obviously, I mean, he's had a few games in a row where the F word came out, and he's not used to hearing that. So I was happy to see him get the scores and make the moves that he did. So. Hopefully that brings him into against the Bills with some passion because we need him.
So I was glad to see the coaching staff just the times when he was down, just go back to him and give him the ball. And it's one of those deals where I truly believe that Andy Reid just believes very strongly and has a very acute sensibility when somebody just needs a hand up, and he can save the guys worth saving. And Brian, I agree with you. Clyde is somebody we need. He's 100% worth saving. At which point you gotta get his confidence up, because I mean this team is not gonna go to, let alone win another Super Bowl, if we can't run the ball at all. Yeah. And there's not a scrap heap full of running backs we can go out that are better than a first round draft pick out of a national championship winning LSU team. So, let's make it work. I 100% agree with you.
How many jet sweeps can we run with Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, exactly. Glad to see McCole running some of those as well. You guys want to bounce around the rest of the AFC here?
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So my main observations of the AFC starts with the Bills look awesome. The AFC South looks pretty meh. The North looks fun, with the exception of the Steelers. And I don't think that I could have ever pictured a time where I would be talking about the AFC North and the Steelers are the also ran, just completely useless to talk about team. It's crazy. The other three are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the Bengals are legitimately pretty good.
I had fun watching that game on Thursday night.
Yeah. I mean, the Ravens are pretty good and the Browns are good, obviously. But our division looks pretty interesting. So I couldn't help but notice the Broncos finally coming down to earth. Did you guys see any of that stuff about the Ravens going for that rushing record?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that for a final take, but yeah, it was
okay. Well,
down the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for ruining that, but no, I actually want to talk about this a lot. So what were your thoughts, Chris, if you were going to do a final take? So do what your final take would have been on that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've been on the fence about this throughout the week, and then as more and more as the coaches keep talking, the more and more I keep siding with John Harbaugh. My first gut reaction was, who the hell gives a crap about that record? And maybe that's just like the old Grizzly person in me, because it's like the thing it took me back to is when Drew Brees broke the record for most consecutive games with a pass or a touchdown pass. And then he ran around the stadium like Cal Ripken broke Lou Gehrig's record. And it's just like, seriously? Nobody heard about that record until maybe a week or two before that. But this is a different scenario where this meant a lot to the Ravens, and the Ravens are using this as, and this is part of the Andy Reid coaching tree, I think, is that, trying to keep some elements of the locker room fun and some type of motivation like this. And it's not like they were, 10 or 15 yards away and they ran it like 3 times in a row where they should have knelt it. They were, I think 2 yards away maybe. It was, and they got 4 on that play. So, you know what? You're paid millions of dollars to stop the other team. And if people want to complain about, you got to play till the final whistle and you got to play 60 minutes, then shut the hell up if you have a problem with this. Like, don't be hypocritical. So I'm on the Ravens side on this. I think really in retrospect, it was fairly harmless too. So that's my take.
Brian, any thoughts on this? Did you follow this at all?
Yeah, no.
And in this situation, it's perfectly okay to say you didn't, because
I saw the social media fallout, and I saw something on ESPN about it. And I did see, I followed up on some clicks looking at what the coach of the Broncos said about, like, he's concerned about player safety there at the end of the game. No, and I got to tell you, I was on his side until Chris just spoke right now. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. I mean, if you were that concerned about player safety, there's a lot of things we can talk about. Like, you're playing this game in the first place. Like, that's not how it works. If we're going to do garbage time stuff, I mean, at the end of the day, people look at the numbers. At the end of the day, they look at the box score. I mean, they'll talk about like the reaction to this, but player safety, it's like, I don't know. It seemed like it was a pretty chill run around the left side. So it's like, now that I don't think he ran it up the middle, as far as maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Like, I get what he's saying, but no, no, that's not. I mean, if they want to keep that record going, or they want to keep the rushing yards going, I do think on some level that it's I think petty might be the word, but they want to keep the numbers going. So fine. I'm not gonna chalk it up to player safety. I will chalk it up to like, let's keep the stats going because it looks good on paper. And when we renegotiate contracts next year, look at those numbers there. So if that's the case, then fine, I get it.
See, my initial thought was to side with the Ravens because screw the Broncos, and anything that's going to make Vic Fangio upset is something that makes me intrinsically happy. But the thing that made me even more on the side with John Harbaugh, I mean, let's just talk about what this record is. So it was 43 games in a row with a 100-yard rusher. And so the last time that's been done, this record's been tied. There was a 43 game run stretch between 74 and 77 where another team did that. Who was that other team?
The Cowboys.
No.
The Broncos?
No.
The Ravens.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
So are you really shocked that the Ravens want to do something to tie, and this next week they're going to be ultra motivated to beat a record by the Steelers? I mean, to me, this is the situation where the middle kid, little brother, has an opportunity to pop Big Brother in the mouth, and he's not popping Big Brother in the mouth because Big Brother is like, graduated law school and he's a lawyer, and this is the brother like breaking his rebounding record in high school. Like this is noise, but you have the opportunity to do it, and you do it.
I'm reminded of something here. The pitcher who tossed the record-breaking pitch to Mark McGwire back in the day. And that was
Steve
remember that
Traxel.
race.
Yep. I actually just watched that 50 for 50.
Yeah, I remember when they said like everyone was excited. Were you excited? He's like, no, I wasn't excited. I was mad.
Exactly. Yeah. But in this situation, this is an opportunity for the Ravens to tie a record that's actually impressive. I mean, 43 games in a row with 100 yards rushing combined for a team. And you get to equal something that the Steelers did. I mean, you have to take that. I'm somewhat.
Can you do it earlier in the fourth quarter, maybe? Not
exactly. I mean, I'm somewhat insulted that Vic Fangio is going to pull the player safety card, and he's going to sit there and be like, that's how that organization. That's how that organization operates. It's like, you know what? You're going to get fired after this season.
Yeah,
because you're not going to the playoffs. You're going to have a 9-8 team. You went 3-0 against 0-9 teams.
Ooh, like, 9-8. There's our 3-1 right now. But yeah, Josh.
Vic Fangio is getting fired at the end of the season. The Broncos are irrelevant, and this was the first step towards them.
Are you responding to those social media memes we've been looking at the last few weeks with our friends who have been like how we're last in the AFC West? And I've been absorbing those. I'm like, oh, you just wait.
That's fine. I mean, two of my college professors. One's a major advocate. Mike Martin was on here last year. And so he and his wife are huge fans of the show. And his wife's brother got on and started commenting on one of our threads where we posted this stuff about, those standings look really good right now. And I just replied back and said, yes, right now, those standings look very not good to the Chiefs.
Savor the flavor.
Not good to the Chiefs. Savor the flavor. Savor the flavor. Yeah. And that flavor savoring could be over as early as this Sunday if the Chiefs win a shootout against Buffalo. So,
oh baby, that'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. So rest of the
here, I got one more thing.
Sorry, Chris. We've interrupted.
It's okay.
Oh yeah, Chris. My bad.
No, I just want to make the point on where John Harbaugh. Sorry, John Harbaugh really sold me on the argument. And if you look back in the play-by-play on this, John Harbaugh made it a point that, well, the Broncos were still trying to throw the ball into the end zone with 10 seconds left in the game. So Back to your point, player safety, give me a break.
Exactly.
That's what really changed my mind is when he pointed that out.
Exactly. That's cool. Fangio will be a defensive coordinator next year. Maybe we hire him. I don't know. He'd probably be better than what we have. So there you go. But that's what his job's going to be. Okay. So the Raiders, I thought that Monday Night Football pregame was pretty entertaining. By the way, whoever put that electrical grid together in in the LA stadium was awesome. I don't know how bad the lightning was. I don't want to make light of what could have potentially been an unsafe situation. I just thought it was pretty funny that they had Steve Young and Susie Kobler and Booger McFarland in the middle of the field when they were sending the fans out into the concourses. That was hilarious. The other thing that I thought was really funny was all the analysis pregame on the Raiders centered around our current sitting player of the month, one Derek Carr, and how he's not getting any respect with a new contract from Gruden. By the way, the dude's got like 2 years left on his contract. So there's a level of, I understand both sides of this, but I just absolutely loved how much they went out of their way to point out that Derek Carr isn't getting his, if you will. And so now I'm really kind of looking forward to Carr playing well for the rest of the season and next, and then going somewhere else and not being with the Raiders. I think that's going to be really funny.
Is Josh Gruden still the coach of the Raiders?
Is Gruden gone yet? No.
He's not.
And per that website that we brought up last year, no, he's not gone, and he's made $10 or $15 since we brought this up.
$10.
$10, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So yeah, any other Raiders thoughts from you guys?
No, I mean, I thought it was interesting how the Raiders almost came back in that game, and then they Raidered it up.
Sure, yeah.
Because I was waiting to see if the Chargers were going to Charger it up or if the Raiders were going to Raider it up, and it ended up being the Raider it up. But I mean, Darren Waller is a absolute freak.
Yeah.
And I mean, why that guy doesn't catch 10 balls a game kind of blows my mind. But I don't know. I can't wait to play the Raiders. I'm not gonna lie. I really want to put it on those guys so bad. And I think we will. I think it's either going to be in Vegas or Kansas City, but we're gonna beat them by 3 scores in one of those games.
Yep, I agree. Speaking of the Chargers, I love that Monday Night Football at home game was actually a road game due to the Raiders fans in the building. LA has been and always will be a Raiders town. And once again, Dean Spanos, God, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
God, you're an idiot. That guy is probably the worst owner in the NFL.
Oh, Dan Snyder.
I don't know. I think Spanos is worse. I really do. Dan Snyder is a money grubbing whore, which, I mean, for all rights and purposes, they probably all are. But Dan Snyder is the biggest money grubbing whore of them all. Dean Spanos is just the way that the whole stadium thing went in San Diego. I mean, the guy's just dumb. He's just dumb, just absolutely dumb. And then to sit there and take a deal to be the backseat to Stan Kroenke and never build a fan base up. I mean, that is going to bite him at some point. I mean, and if nothing else, it's going to bite him in terms of opportunity costs, because he's never going to be able to just commercialize the team the way that he should. And it's ridiculous and it's funny.
I don't know about horror. When I see Jerry Jones, I see humanitarian. So.
Sure. My eyes aren't too far apart.
Way too far apart. South Park reference.
What are you even messing around with that? Get the Goodell bot to do that.
The Goodell bot.
The Goodell bot. Yeah. All right. So let's kind of blast through everything else. So the rest of the NFC. I just had 3 quick points. One, how about them Cowboys? I think that has to be said at this point. And really, really, how about them Cardinals? And then the third piece is the Bucks/Panthers and the Packers also lead their divisions. The North and South aren't very interesting in my personal opinion. I mean, the East and the West are where the interesting divisions are. And the West, of course, just continues to be very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are interesting right now because they're taking very much a go for it strategy right now, which sure. I don't know if they're ready yet or not, but they're definitely doing that. Getting Stephon Gilmore, but yeah, I'm curious. I mean, they're kind of like the San Diego Padres right now in the NFL. They're just like, hey, let's start, getting as many named players as we can right now.
Tatis equals McCaffrey. I'll go with that. I'm down with that analogy.
Yeah, but I'm wondering. So it looks like it's Justin Fields' job now in Chicago, and I'm wondering when it's going to be Trey Lance's job in San Francisco, because
it's already his job. Jimmy G's hurt. Jimmy G's not getting that job back. I really don't think so.
He shouldn't. But Matt Nagy pretty much came out today and said that Justin Fields is keeping it even when Andy Dalton gets healthy. So we'll see how those two guys do now that the teams are now theirs.
Are Nagy and Bieniemy going to change jobs in the offseason?
I think Eric Bieniemy's saying he doesn't go to the Bears, but that's an honest question. I really think those two might just change jobs.
He's waiting out for a head coach job, right?
Yeah, and Matt Nagy's going to get fired.
All right, so.
Matt Nagy will get fired by the Bears. I mean, I truly believe that Matt Nagy and Vic Fangio are going to be coordinators next season.
If you're Bieniemy and you want a head coach job, I don't know how you turn down the Bears. So
I don't know how you turn down anything. Yeah, I mean, there's 32 jobs that are the best job in the world if you're part of football.
I would turn down Houston,
even the Jets. Yeah. I mean, first of all, you wouldn't turn down anything, and you know it.
You wouldn't turn down. I'm doing a thing called joking around.
None of us would turn any of these down. But
would you rather be the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid or the head coach of that dumpster fire in Houston? I mean, seriously. Airbnb's got really good right now.
My answer is I would rather be the head coach of a dumpster fire than an offensive coordinator. I truly would do that, and I really do believe that those guys are wired that way.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad question, Chris. I think you're right. Like, what kind of? I think it's one of those things. Like, I'm the guy who put out the dumpster fire. Then all of a sudden, you're immortalized. Sure. So,
well, I mean, I think it's the same type of thing. Of you talk about music, and you talk about the guy that sells out. And so the thing that I would say in that situation is just kind of reflect. If you're put in a situation where you can make music that you don't 100% believe in and become a multi-millionaire, are you really going to say no to that? And I mean, one of the things that I kind of internally came to terms with a long time ago is I wouldn't say no to that. I wouldn't, I would rather be the Nickelback that everybody makes fun of than the band that's 100 times better that nobody ever hears from.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, my mind goes to immediately, like, if I can make Nickelback money, and if I want to, like, okay, you pack that away, leave the band, then all of a sudden you have a solo career and make your own little.
Well, so the best, that
way.
Best example of that's Justin Timberlake. I mean, Justin Timberlake. This isn't a type of thing that he goes around and talks about how NSYNC was not, his dream, if you will, but realistically speaking, how many of us in the world have taken a job that we don't necessarily care for and you bounce to another company?
Also, when you're like 19, says you're gonna be a pop star. Okay,
exactly.
Fine, sure. Yeah,
Exactly.
You turn that engine into a career like and they all had a chance to do that, right? Like, everyone can sing really well, but he was the front man of a boy band. So, I mean, there's a lot of examples like that. It depends what kind of work you want to put into it, and if that's really what your heart is burning to, or do you just like, I want $4 million and I want $10 million. I want to put it into,
and I want it now.
And I would like to put it into a what's it called, one of those investment funds, or I want to put it into a what are those the index? I will put it into an index fund, and then I'm going to travel to Jamaica.
You want to put it in a hedge fund. You want a hedge fund. You got your hedge fund, trust fund kids running around.
I did away in South Dakota.
I'm going to watch daytime TV, watch some Maury every day, and not worry about anything, and move on with my life.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I honestly don't even know what we're talking about. I think we're talking about coaching versus coordinating.
Yeah. Well, somehow we got to Matt Nagy, and then it just took off from there.
Yeah, for sure. No, so Justin Fields being the quarterback, and you mentioned Trey Lance being the quarterback of the Niners. I expect Trey Lance to play well enough to keep that job.
He's in a much better situation than Justin Fields is.
Absolutely. Justin Fields is not in a good situation. He's not on a good team, and he's in a, also running for all rights and purposes, a fairly weak division, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Any other NFC notes from either of you guys?
No, you pretty much touched upon what I had top of mind too.
I think the Justin Timberlake discussion covered everything I wanted to cover about
there you
the
go.
Sweet. Okay, perfect. Old friend alerts. Any former Chiefs coaches or players that are jumping out aside from all the nice things I had to say about Matt Nagy? Which, by the way, I want to be clear about this. I don't endorse people getting fired for stuff. That's not a fun situation to be part of. But at the same time, you've got the 32 best jobs in the world and then the 64 as the offensive and defensive coordinators.
Everyone knows the system. Everyone understands the game.
This is what's going on.
They get it. We get it. Everyone gets it. They know it's high profile.
Yeah, there you go.
Everyone gets it. Yeah. Old friend alert though. I got nothing. I seriously, does anyone have anything? Because I got nothing.
I do. Ironically, I just happened to be on the San Francisco box score, and I just now noticed D Ford had 2 sacks against Seattle.
Yeah. So mine that I noticed was Rodney Hudson, the center of that Cardinals offense. We tried to get him back. Dude hasn't allowed a sack through the season so far. You know, part of Kyler Murray's run towards the MVP. So Rodney Hudson, somebody that I've noticed. Okay, so song of the week. If this week was a song, Brian, do you have anything?
Oh gosh. Is there a song called I'm Back? I feel like there's a song that says I'm Back.
So there's a song by Mace where he did Welcome Back, and that was sampling a song called Welcome Back. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, Welcome Back. And if you want to get really deep, the Insane Clown Posse started a song where it's I'm Violent J and I'm back like a vertebrae. So you can pick between those two.
I'm back like a vertebrae.
Correct. That's a tight rhyme.
You know, I'm gonna go with Mace, but I'm going to have a side eye to ICP on that one. So yeah,
sure.
We're back.
Yeah.
I like that feeling. It feels good to be back right now.
Yeah. Chris, what do you got?
For me, I'm gonna go with Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis because
Sally can't wait.
Like you guys, I just could not get over how the defense was just getting steamrolled against the Eagles. But, as Brian pointed out, they did limit the damage to 3 field goals, which made a big difference. But for me, it overshadowed just how good the offense was that day. I mean, the other thing that I heard this week, as far as a fact or a stat goes, is that the Chiefs have played 7 games in team history where they haven't given up a punt. And do you happen to know when the last time is that they actually won a game where they didn't force the other team to punt? Or
it's
what
decade? Like 1970 something.
Yep, October 29th, 1972 against the Chargers.
Yep, there you go.
So 39 years, another one of these crazy, weird records.
I know it wasn't in the 90s. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, that's for me is like, get over the defense. Billy kind of said it as far as they are what they are. And I like your idea, Josh, of just being like, screw it. Just take the top off and just start risking it. And, what's the worst thing you do? You end up keeping the ball in the hands of the destroyer of worlds and Patrick Mahomes. I'm all for that.
Yep. I like the way that you describe him. By the way, while we're throwing out stats, I think we have to give a shout out to Andy Reid getting 100 wins in 2 conferences. We haven't talked about that stat yet.
Only coach should do that.
That's final take worthy, but he is great. It was great. My song is a comeback song by Darius Rucker. So I pretty much went the same direction as you guys. We're back. It's fine. Let's just be happy with the ride. We're good. Fantasy stats. I have to call out Tyreek Hill, 47 points in ESPN PPR. The Chiefs cast team has that guy.
Yes, we do.
Nice.
Any fantasy stats? Brian, what do you got on Kirk Cousins?
Oh gosh. Kirk Cousins, it turns out you guys know what you're talking about with Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
But still I was enough to win my my thing, the against my opponent last week. Let me pull it up right here. I think Tannehill outperformed Cousins last game. And Yahoo, no, take your time, Yahoo. Don't load quickly at all, please. The reason why Bing and Yahoo or Google are ahead of you. Okay, I think it was okay. So Barkley from the Giants, he's had a breakthrough a couple games. The first few games were not so hot, but I'm a big fan of him coming around. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, Barkley was projected for 15 points, got 27 points, the running back for the Giants. Yep. Congrats to him. And yeah, that was a big push for me to get rid. LA, the LA Rams defense. I scored -1 points on their defense.
You had points taken away.
You asshole. Whereas my opponent, the Buffalo defense, had 23 points. And so, I mean, that's a cool thing about fantasy football is you learn stuff like this. That's why I had some pushback early on. I was like, Buffalo is really kind of their defense is not something to take lightly. So that said, Kirk Cousins not doing what he normally does this year. However, I was able to pull out the numbers I need to pull out. Barkley, my running back, doing what he does. So shout out to Barkley from the Giants.
Saquon.
Say again, Shaquan? Am I saying it right?
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Saquon. Okay, Saquon Barkley.
Yes, it's not Shaka Khan Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. Yes. Yeah. So thank you much for doing what you do.
Shaka Khan Barkley. Yeah. All right, Chris. Any fantasy stats jumped out of you?
And this is a guy I wish I had grabbed. Maybe in the middle of rounds now. But Deebo Samuel is having a sneaky good fantasy year right now.
He's having a very public, incredibly good year.
Well, but who was he high on anybody's fantasy board? I mean,
yeah, no one. You're correct from that standpoint.
But he's been incredible this year.
Yeah, and what about Cordarrelle Patterson? That just keeps going. I mean, I thought it was a joke after week 2.
Yeah. Well,
that might be the what if.
I guess
that might be the what if. But anyway, final take, Chris. I know you have something prepared, so shoot.
Oh, it's just around what is the clown show that is Urban Meyer. There's either Urban Meyer needs to step down or needs to get fired, because I could go on about the laundry list of crap that he's basically had out in the public since he took the job with Jacksonville, but he has lost his locker room from a lot of the reports that came out today. I just, outside of a financial decision by the owner not wanting to, fire him without cause, even though I don't know what would be cause. Probably there is none, but I don't see how that guy can continue to be on the sideline for Jacksonville. So, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take, or it would be really amazing to me if he actually finishes the season with the Jaguars and just either how epically bad they are or for some crazy reason they turn around. But I don't think he should be on the sideline.
So should he just be out in LA coaching USC now at this point?
He should not be his current job. After that, I could care less what he does. But
got it.
I just, yeah.
Got it. Brian, you got anything?
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about what this is going to be. It just popped up in the last 5 minutes. Okay, I wore a Chiefs shirt to pump gas, and I went inside to go get something on a fountain drink. And to the person, the gas station, or like the person checking me out, the cashier person, who said that Spagnuolo should be fired. I'm like, I gotta say no, dude. I'm not ready for that yet. Apparently, I don't know if Spags is like the discussion of like firing him. He was like really adamant about that. I'm like, we've been here before. We've done this. We've seen crappy defense in the first few games of the season. The first half of the season, we've seen crappy defense. The 1 year where it happened against go back to the Colts. You know what? It didn't look good, but we adjusted. And guess what? We won the Super Bowl that year. And guess what? The next year didn't look so great, but we made it back to the Super Bowl. Okay. So here it is again. Guess what? crappy defense early in the season, guess what? Seems to go, takes us to the Super Bowl for some goddamn reason. So no, that's not how that works. And then the more I hear about that discussion going on, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it yet. I get the frustration. Firing, I don't understand how my mind connects to that, puts those puzzle pieces together like that. So just like the last few years, yes, sucked quite a bit in the beginning of the year, but we're not discussing about. I like the fact that it's quiet, it's chill. The O-line is getting Mahomes the energy, the time that he needs, because we've not talked a lot about the O-line collapsing around Mahomes. And if we had this O-line in the Super Bowl, I'm sure we'd have a much better time. We would have a better time because we want to have a good time, right? It's all about having a good time.
Hey, if you don't pizza when you should French fry, you're gonna have a good time.
Yes, if you don't have an O-line that protects Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have a bad time. And quite frankly, they're protecting Patrick Mahomes. We're having a good time. I know the losses we had to absorb suck, but I'm feeling good about what's going on.
Well, thanks, Thumper. We're gonna lean into that reference. My last take is we've got the upcoming season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia coming up. I am so looking forward to this. They are going to be breaking the record for the longest running live action comedy show, and I'm looking forward to what they have coming up for us. That's
what really season is it? Is it 14 now or
14 or 15? I'm gonna IMDb this right now because I'm super prepared with this take. I've been watching reruns here recently. Let me ask you this: what are your guys' favorite Always Sunny episodes?
When Frank gets stuck on the coil.
Okay, so that's the Mac and Dennis buy a timeshare
and pyramid scheme. Like turn it upside down. Oh god damn it!
It's a reverse.
How could you guys be so stupid?
It's a reverse funnel. You guys are the dumbest unit ever. So
and you have Roddy Piper in there. He like sells everybody.
The maniac. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's it goes back a way, but like the gang does community service. I mean, I cannot get over the last 5 minutes of that episode. It still makes me laugh, crying, seeing Charlie drunk off his ass, running around blocking kids' shots, and then Flops wearing the steel-toe boots.
Yep.
That last 5 minutes of that episode is my favorite 5 minutes of the entire series.
Okay, so to answer your question, coming up will be season 15. Okay.
Your favorite episode, Josh?
So I want to say my favorite episode is from season 5, and it is episode 4 where the gang gives Frank an intervention. The next episode after that, the next episode is exactly. The next episode is Waitress Gets Married, and the next episode after that is World Series Defense. That's the best 3-game set that they have. But the gang giving Frank an intervention, I believe, is my favorite. Waitress Getting Married might be my second. I really like the Dennis method for old ones, but I'm going to throw out a really new one as well, and I'm going to verify what season this is on. It's either 12 or 13. Season 12, episode 2, IMDb rated 9.5 stars. The gang goes to the water park. That episode is incredible. Yeah. Incredible. It just reminded me every reason why I fell in love with that show.
Actually, the last scene in that show may actually be my favorite.
He goes down on the
yes. Yes.
Well, but no, and then you see that it's just like, a real master doesn't even know they're playing a game, and that girl just like robs Dennis blind. Yeah.
Or the best line. I will say this: when the gang gives Frank an intervention, I think the best line or the best sequence, I think, came from that episode where they're trying to give Frank an intervention. And they told the therapist, like, we lured him down here by telling him there's a grease fire going on. And they start laughing, and the therapist is like, what? And then
he walks in with a gun.
He wants to let the gun. Where is the fire? He wants to shoot the fire.
See, we told you he was going to have a gun.
We told you. He walks in, he just pulls a gun on the fire. I've never laughed so hard. Oh my God, that was so great.
So I watched that last night, and I also watched the South Park. What's the episode where they're doing Scientology?
Yeah, Scientologists actually believe this.
Yeah, but my favorite part of that episode is how R. Kelly's just like, so I was just standing here. Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet. So I pull out my gun.
So I pull out my gun. Oh God, there was a gun.
So we brought out R. Kelly.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode right there if we want to cover that. But
oh yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I'd say that we're comfortably over time. So good night, Arrowhead Kingdom.
Go Chiefs.
Peace.